Happy Friday, Tigers! I hope you are enjoying your day off. As I promised in class, though, we are going to keep the learning going, and we are going to continue with our multiplication. Today, I am going to introduce you to the standard algorithm of multiplication. Now, you're going to hear me use that word algorithm here and in class, and all that means is process. It's the steps to multiplying. We call it standard because this is the original way that your parents and myself and a lot of people learned it back in the day. Now we have options and we can choose to use this style or our area method. Both should get us the same answer if we're doing them correctly. But now we can choose which one works best for us. However, you will be required to know both methods for the FSA. So we're going to practice both of them equally so we're just as good at one as the other. So today, let's jump right into practicing our standard algorithm for multiplication. When we are multiplying this way, I like to use a special phrase to help me remember the different steps. That phrase is many zoos, many animals. This is the phrase that's going to help me remember what to do first, next, and last. So when I start with the word many. The word many helps me remember that my first step is to multiply. And what that means is I'm going to multiply my ones digit on the bottom, in this case it's 7, so this spot right here, I'm going to multiply it with both my ones and my tens in the top number. So I'm going to start by multiplying 3 times 7. That gives me 21. I write my 1 in the bottom ones column, and the 2 gets carried over to my tens column. Next, I'm going to multiply my 7 with the tens column. In this case, that's 7 times 2. 7 times 2 is 14. Adding in the extra 2 at the top, that gives me 16. So I'm going to write on the bottom 16. Now this is my first partial product. Before I move on to do my next partial product, I have to do my zoos step. Now the zoos step stands for add a 0. Now we've multiplied 7 by everything in the top. We could say that we're done with it, so we're going to kiss it goodbye. And then we add a 0. We might think of this as the hug goodbye because X's and O's. We kiss it goodbye, then we add a 0 to hug that 7 goodbye and to hold our place. Since the 7 was in the ones column, we were multiplying by ones. Now that we're going to move over to this next column, we want our answer, our product, to start in that column. So it's all lined up carefully. That lining it up is super important. So we always have to add this special 0 in to hold our place when we move over to the ones column. This is one of the easiest things to remember or to forget. So I challenge you to pay extra careful attention to try and remember it when you're doing these steps. So that was our zoos step. My next step is the word many again, so you might have already guessed. That means we're going to multiply again. But this time, since we've already kissed our ones column, our 7 goodbye, we're going to be multiplying with our tens column. So that means we are going to multiply 1 times 3. So we multiply 1 times 3. That gives me 3. Notice how my answer starts right here because this 0 is here. And then I multiply 1 times my tens column, which is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. So I've finished my multiply step of many zoos, many animals. So my final step is the animals. And you might have guessed, based on our steps for multiplying with the area method, this animals stands for add it up. So we are going to take our 2 partial products, and we are now going to add them together to get our final product. 1 plus 0 is 1. 6 plus 3 is 9. And 1 plus 2 is 3. So my final product is 391. This is the point where I want you to pause, rewind to the beginning, and watch this one more time while you copy it down so that you have these notes in front of you for when you're practicing on your own. Now that you've watched this again, or paid close attention to this at least, we are going to do another practice problem. just to make sure that we are fully understanding all of these steps. So like we did previously, we are going to start by multiplying. And we always multiply our ones column first. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 6. That's going to give me 12. 2 goes in the bottom, I carry the 1 to the top. Then I multiply 2 times 1. 2 times 1 gives me 2, but I need to add in the extra 1 at the top, so that equals 3. Now that I've finished multiplying my ones column by everything else, I have to kiss it goodbye, so I don't multiply anymore by that number, and add my 0. Give it a big hug. Now that I've added my 0, I can move on to the next many, which is the next multiply. So I'm going to multiply this time my tens column. So this tens column, the 3, is going to multiply by my 6. 3 times 6 is 18. Carry the 1. And then I multiply 3 times 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus the 1 that I just carried over, that gives me 4. I add my 4, and I'm done multiplying. My very final step is to add it up. So I'm going to add up all of my carefully lined up columns. 2 plus 0 is 2. 8 plus 3 is 11. Carry the 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. And my final answer is 512. Now, after you've watched this a couple of times to make sure you get all of the steps, this is your assignment to get your credit on Monday. I challenge you to make up 10 of your own double digit, so 2 digits by 2 digit multiplication problems, and solve them using our standard method. What I would recommend is either putting a bunch of numbers in a hat on a piece of paper, cutting it up, folding them, putting them in a hat, and drawing out 2 at a time. Or you could roll a dice, or you could just ask a family member or a friend to pick numbers for you. Whoops. So, use that method, practice with 10 practice problems on your own piece of paper, and bring it into me on Monday to get your points. I look forward to seeing all of your hard work when you come back from your long weekend. Enjoy the rest of your time, and as always, if you have questions or need help, ask your math teacher when we're back in school. Have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.